Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really personal journey, a mother's story about the frustrations of parenting and, well, a complete transformation. It's a powerful story that really makes you ask, what if the key to changing our kids' behavior is actually changing ourselves?
So, where does this all begin? It starts with words that would just crush any parent, spoken by a 9-year-old boy to his mother, Asya. He said to her, "Mom, you don't even have a brain." And for Asya, this wasn't just a one-time thing. It was part of a daily reality that was pushing her right to the edge.
Okay, so first, we really need to understand what was going on at home. What brought Asya to this breaking point? It was a space filled with constant chaos, and it was fueling this growing despair in her.
So, let's meet the family. At the heart of all this, you've got Asya, married for 10 years. Then there's her son, Ayhan, who's 9, super smart but also incredibly headstrong. And his little sister Zoya, who's 5, and she's starting to pick up on her brother's, let's just say, defiant behavior.
You know how kids are, right? A little mischief here and there. But for Asya, that had totally spiraled into this daily barrage of defiance. We're talking things getting thrown, constant screaming, and with every single outburst, she felt like her heart was breaking, just bit by bit.
And how did she react? Well, it was this really painful cycle. She'd meet their defiance with her own anger, yelling, sometimes even hitting. And then, what always followed? The regret, the tears, and these desperate prayers just asking God, where did I go wrong?
But then came the moment that just broke everything, the final straw. It happened in front of guests. Her son Ayhan just flat out shamed her, announcing to everyone, "My mom doesn't know anything." Can you imagine? The humiliation in that moment must have been just crushing.
So that night, sitting there, completely ashamed, something shifted. Through all the tears, she had this flash of clarity. She realized the problem wasn't just her kids. It was her. It was her parenting. And that painful realization, that was the spark she needed to change.
You know, it's funny how sometimes our absolute lowest moments are what open the door for the biggest breakthroughs. And for Asya, this point of total despair, it led to a single conversation that was about to change everything for her family.
So, feeling just completely overwhelmed and lost, she did something incredibly brave. She reached out. She called her friend Asma and just let it all out. The chaos, the disrespect, her own feelings of being a total failure.
And Asma, being a great friend, she listened. She really listened. But she didn't just offer sympathy. She gave her a concrete plan. She said, "You need to go see an Islamic scholar, one who specializes in parenting." This wasn't just advice, it was a lifeline. It was exactly what Asya had been praying for.
Okay, and this right here, this brings us to the absolute heart of the story. Because her meeting with the scholar wasn't about getting a few parenting hacks. Oh no, it was about to completely flip her understanding of what it means to be a mother. The scholar started in a place she wasn't expecting at all. He didn't blame the kids. Instead, he shared this gentle but incredibly powerful truth. He said, "Children aren't born disrespectful, their behavior is learned." Wow. Right there, that one sentence, it just lifted the blame off the children and put the spotlight right where it needed to be, on their environment.
And then he started asking these really sharp questions, turning the focus inward on Asya. He asked about the mahal, the whole atmosphere of the home. He asked, is God even mentioned? Do you and your husband speak to each other with respect? And Asya, she just fell silent. The answers hit her like a ton of bricks.
And this is where we get to the core concept. The scholar explained the Islamic idea of tarbiyat, which we translate as upbringing. But he made it clear, this isn't about lecturing your kids, not at all. Real tarbiyat comes from the environment you create, the example you set day in and day out.
So based on that big idea, the scholar gave her a roadmap, a clear, actionable path. And the steps were so simple, yet so deep. But look at number 1. It all started with this. Fix yourself first. Before you do anything else, change your own reactions, lower your voice, pray with them, and maybe most important of all, listen.
Okay, but let's be real. Getting advice is one thing, right? The hard part is actually doing it, especially when you're trying to break old habits. So this is where Asya's difficult but really determined journey began.
So the first thing she tackled was her own reaction. That urge to yell, oh, it was still there. But instead of giving in, she turned to dua, to prayer.
Prayer became her first line of defense, not her last resort.
And when you look at her approach, it was a complete 180. Before it was shouting, now it was listening. Before it was hitting, now it was explaining things with love. Before it was complaining to God, now it was praying to God for help.
She took the scholar's advice to heart. She sat down with Ion, and for the first time, she just listened. No interrupting, no judging. And as she did that, something incredible happened. She started to see past all that anger and stubbornness, and underneath it all, she saw a little boy who was insecure and afraid.
So, what happened? After all this hard work, all this intentional change, what was the result? Well, let's take a look at how her faith and her patience really started to pay off.
Now, this didn't happen overnight. It was slow, but the change was absolutely undeniable. As Asia changed, her kids started to change too. Their language got better, they started talking to her with respect. That constant tension in the house, it was replaced with peace and with affection.
But the real win, the moment that just brought tears of pure joy to her eyes, it came from Ayan himself. One day he came to her and said, "Mom, I'm getting angry, but I'm not going to get angry." Think about that. He wasn't just stopping the behavior, he was aware of his feelings and choosing how to act. Now that is real growth.
And through this whole journey, Asia finally got it. She learned the biggest lesson of all. Parenting isn't some battle you have to win against your kid's bad behavior. It's a journey of faith. And that journey always starts with having the courage to look in the mirror and change yourself first.
And that's really the powerful idea to take away from this story. The effort that one parent makes to build a home filled with faith and positivity, it doesn't just help their own kids, it actually sets a whole new path forward, with the power to change not just one family, but generations to come.